The spark of discovery. In the heart of a lush valley, surrounded by towering cliffs and dense forests, there lay a cave that had become home to Lyra and her tribe. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and wild herbs, the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves creating a symphony of nature. Lyra, a spirited young girl with wild curls and bright eyes, often wandered beyond the cave's entrance, exploring the world that thrived outside. One fateful day, while foraging for berries near the riverbank, Lyra stumbled upon an unusual sight. A fallen tree had caught fire from a lightning strike during last night's storm. The flames danced wildly, illuminating the surrounding foliage with an orange glow that flickered like stars against the darkening sky. Entranced by the sight, Lyra approached cautiously, her heart racing with both excitement and fear. As she drew closer, she noticed how the flames consumed the wood with an insatiable hunger. She recalled tales from her mother about how fire could bring warmth but also destruction. Yet here it was, beautiful and terrifying at once. Fascinated by its movement, she reached out her hand instinctively but withdrew just in time to avoid the searing heat. Lyra spent hours watching the fire flicker and crackle, mesmerized by its power. As dusk settled into night, she knew she had to share this discovery with her tribe. With determination fueling her steps, she hurried back to the cave. Upon entering, she found her people gathered around their usual hearth, a simple stone circle where they cooked their meals and shared stories. The flickering shadows cast by their modest fire painted their faces with shades of warmth and familiarity. But Lyra's heart raced as she prepared to reveal her discovery. "Everyone! You must come. I found something amazing!" Lyra exclaimed breathlessly. Her father, Roland, looked up from his place near the hearth. "What is it, Lyra? Another strange creature?" "No. It's fire. Real fire. Outside by the river." Her voice trembled with excitement as she gestured animatedly. A murmur rippled through the crowd, some exchanged skeptical glances while others leaned in closer to hear more. Thorin, the tribe's elder with wise eyes that seemed to hold centuries of knowledge, raised his hand for silence. "Fire? Speak clearly, child," he said slowly. Lyra took a deep breath before recounting her encounter with the flames, their beauty and danger intertwined. As she spoke, some members of the tribe shifted uneasily, others were captivated by her vivid description. Thorin nodded thoughtfully. "Fire has always been a part of our stories, a force both revered and feared. If what you say is true, we must understand it." The elder's words ignited a spark within Lyra's heart. She felt an overwhelming sense of purpose wash over her. This was not merely an accident, it was an opportunity for her people to learn something profound about their world. As night deepened around them, Thorin proposed an expedition to witness this newfound wonder together. With excitement bubbling among them like fresh spring water, they prepared for their journey into the unknown. The next morning dawned bright and clear as Lyra led her tribe toward the riverbank where she had discovered fire. The sun filtered through trees overhead like golden rays blessing their path. As they approached the site of her discovery, anticipation hung thick in the air. When they arrived at the charred remains of the fallen tree smoldering softly in patches of glowing embers amidst blackened wood, awe swept over them all. The flames had died down significantly since Lyra first witnessed them, however, remnants still glowed warmly beneath layers of ash. "Look!" Lyra pointed excitedly at the glowing embers as they gathered around her. "This is what I saw." Thorin knelt down beside her and gently poked at one of the embers with a stick he had brought along, a simple tool fashioned from sturdy wood. "It still holds heat," he murmured thoughtfully. "But we must be cautious." The tribe watched as Thorin carefully lifted some dry twigs from nearby bushes and placed them near the embers before blowing gently on them. To their amazement, small flames flickered back to life, dancing merrily against their surroundings once more. Lyra gasped in delight as warmth enveloped them all like a comforting blanket on a cold night. The realization struck everyone present, they were witnessing something extraordinary, the rebirth of fire through their own hands. Now we can learn its secrets, Thorin declared proudly as he looked around at his people's faces illuminated by flickering light, a mixture of fear transformed into wonderment reflected back at him. With newfound courage ignited within them all by this momentous occasion, Lyra felt certain that this was only just beginning. Together they would explore what it meant to master such power while living within caves filled with shadows yet illuminated by hope for brighter days ahead. The gathering of knowledge. As the sun rose over the valley, casting golden rays through the mouth of the cave, Lyra felt a sense of excitement bubbling within her. The previous day's discovery of fire had ignited not only flames but also a spark of curiosity among her tribe. Today, they would gather to learn about this powerful element and its potential uses. Thorin, the tribe's elder, stood at the center of the cave, his presence commanding respect. With deep lines etched into his weathered face and silver hair cascading down his back, he embodied wisdom and experience. The tribe had come to rely on him for guidance, especially now that they were venturing into uncharted territory. Today, we will explore the wonders and dangers of fire, Thorin announced, his voice resonating through the cavernous space. It is a gift from nature, but it must be treated with respect. The tribe gathered around the central hearth where Lyra had first witnessed the flames come to life. As they settled in, Lyra could see the mixture of excitement and apprehension on their faces. She felt a thrill at being part of something so significant, a moment that could change their way of life forever. Thorin began by recounting ancient stories passed down through generations. Our ancestors spoke of fire as a spirit, one that could bring warmth and light but also consume everything in its path if not controlled. He paused, allowing his words to sink in. We must learn to harness this spirit wisely. Lyra listened intently as Thorin explained how fire could be used for cooking, providing warmth during cold nights, and warding off predators that lurked in the shadows. The thought of roasting meat over flames made her stomach rumble with anticipation. She imagined gathering around the hearth with her family, sharing stories while enjoying warm food, a vision that filled her with hope. However, Thorin continued, his tone shifting to one of caution, fire can also be destructive. We must understand its nature to protect ourselves and our home. He demonstrated how to create sparks using flint stones, striking them together with precision. The tribe watched in awe as small embers flew into the air before landing on dry grass and twigs. With careful breaths, Thorin coaxed the embers into flames once more. Lyra felt a rush of pride as she realized that this was just the beginning, they were learning to control something that had once been merely a natural phenomenon. As Thorin spoke about safety measures, keeping water nearby and ensuring that flammable materials were at a safe distance, Lyra took mental notes. Now, Thorin said with a glint in his eye, who among you wishes to try? A wave of hesitation swept through the group before Yarrick stepped forward. He was known for his bravery as a skilled hunter who often ventured into dangerous territories. With determination etched on his face, he accepted Thorin's challenge. As Yarrick attempted to strike flint stones together, Lyra held her breath in anticipation. After several tries, sparks flew, tiny yet fierce, as they landed on dry grass. With each attempt, Yarrick's confidence grew until finally, flames flickered to life before him. Cheers erupted from the tribe as they witnessed Yarrick's success. Lyra clapped her hands together in excitement, she could feel the energy coursing through everyone present. They were no longer mere spectators, they were participants in this monumental moment. Thorin smiled proudly at Yarrick before addressing the tribe again. This is just one way we can create fire, he explained. But there are many methods we can explore together. In the days that followed, Lyra and her tribe engaged in various experiments with fire under Thorin's watchful eye. They learned how to use different materials, dried leaves, twigs, and even animal bones, to produce flames more efficiently. Each successful attempt brought them closer together as a community. One evening, while practicing their newfound skills outside the cave under a starlit sky, Lyra noticed something remarkable happening within her tribe. They were no longer just individuals, they were becoming a cohesive unit bound by shared experiences and knowledge. As they gathered around their makeshift fire pit, laughter filled the air while stories flowed freely like water from a spring. Elders recounted tales of their ancestors' struggles and triumphs while children listened wide-eyed with wonder. Fire is not just for survival, Lyra realized as she watched her friends roast small pieces of meat over the flames. It brings us together. Amidst this newfound camaraderie emerged an unexpected idea: what if they could use fire to improve their hunting techniques? Inspired by Jarek's earlier success with sparks, Lyra suggested they explore how fire could help them drive game toward traps or create barriers against predators. Thorin nodded thoughtfully at Lyra's proposal. "That is an excellent thought," he said slowly. "Fire can indeed be used strategically in hunting." Excitement rippled through the group as they began brainstorming ways to incorporate fire into their hunting practices. They envisioned creating controlled burns in specific areas to encourage new growth, an idea that would attract prey seeking fresh vegetation. Over time, these discussions transformed into plans for their next hunt, a collaborative effort fueled by innovation and creativity sparked by their mastery over fire. As preparations unfolded for their upcoming expedition into the forest where game roamed freely under cover of trees, the energy within Lyra surged anew. This was more than just survival, it was about thriving together as one resilient community united by purpose. On the day of their hunt, Lyra felt both nervousness and excitement bubbling within her chest like boiling water ready to spill over. She joined Jarek at dawn as they set out toward familiar hunting grounds filled with lush vegetation swaying gently in rhythm with nature's breath. The air was crisp against her skin while birds chirped cheerfully overhead, a reminder that life thrived all around them despite challenges faced daily by those who sought sustenance from it. As they reached an open clearing where tall grasses danced beneath sunlight filtering through tree branches above them, Jarek turned toward Lyra with determination gleaming in his eyes. "Today we will show our tribe what we've learned." With careful coordination between hunters positioned strategically along paths frequented by deer, they ignited small fires meant to guide animals toward traps set up ahead, creating an intricate dance between predator and prey fueled by newfound knowledge about harnessing nature's forces effectively without losing control over them entirely. Lyra watched intently as smoke billowed upward into blue skies above while flames flickered brightly against earthy tones surrounding them. It felt like magic unfolding right before her eyes, a testament not only to human ingenuity but also resilience embedded deep within every member present today willing to embrace change despite uncertainty looming ahead. As dusk approached later that day, the sun dipping low on horizon painting everything golden hues, their efforts bore fruit when several deer wandered close enough for hunters waiting patiently near traps hidden amongst foliage surrounding clearing where fires had been lit earlier, guiding unsuspecting prey toward safety nets woven tightly together using vines collected during preparations prior leaving cave behind earlier today. With triumphant shouts echoing throughout forest clearing, Lyra felt exhilaration course through veins like wildfire, igniting passion deep inside heart, reminding her why mastering fire mattered so much. It wasn't merely about survival anymore, it was about thriving alongside those who shared same dreams, aspirations, forging bonds stronger than any flame ever could burn alone. The first flames. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the forest as Lyra and her tribe prepared for their first hunt utilizing the fire they had learned to control. Excitement buzzed in the air, mingling with the earthy scent of damp leaves and the distant calls of wildlife. Today was not just about hunting, it was about proving to themselves that they could harness fire's power for survival. Jarek, the skilled hunter who had ignited the flames during their earlier practice, stood at the forefront of the group. His confidence radiated as he outlined their plan. "We'll create a controlled burn to drive the deer toward our traps," he explained, gesturing to the designated area where they had set up snares and pits. Lyra felt a thrill of anticipation as she listened. This was a pivotal moment for their tribe, a chance to demonstrate that they could master fire not just for warmth and cooking but also as a tool for hunting. She looked around at her fellow tribespeople, their faces illuminated by the fading sunlight, reflecting determination and hope. "Remember," Jarek continued, "we must work together. Timing is crucial. Once we light the fire, we need to stay focused and keep it contained. Thorin, standing nearby with a watchful eye, nodded in agreement. We must respect fire's nature. It can be both a friend and a foe. If we lose control, it could harm us instead of helping. With that reminder echoing in their minds, Lyra and her tribe gathered dry grass, twigs, and branches, everything they needed to start their fire. The excitement was palpable as they moved with purpose, each step bringing them closer to their goal. As dusk settled around them, Yarrick took charge of lighting the first flame. He knelt down at the edge of their chosen area, striking flint stones together with practiced precision. Sparks flew into the air before landing on the dry materials he had prepared. Lyra held her breath as she watched. Moments later, small flames flickered to life. Cheers erupted from the tribe as they witnessed Yarrick's success once more. Lyra felt a rush of pride swell within her chest. They were transforming from mere cave dwellers into masters of fire. With flames crackling merrily before them, Yarrick directed everyone to spread out along the perimeter of their designated hunting ground. The plan was simple yet effective: create a controlled burn that would encourage deer to flee toward their traps rather than away from them. As Lyra took her position alongside Thorin and several other hunters, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was uncharted territory for them all, a test of their newfound skills and knowledge. "Stay alert," Thorin reminded them quietly. "We must be ready when the time comes." The fire crackled and hissed as it consumed the dry underbrush around it. Lyra watched intently as smoke curled into the air, creating an aromatic haze that mingled with the scent of pine trees surrounding them. Minutes passed like hours as they waited for signs of movement in the forest. Suddenly, a rustle echoed through the trees followed by soft thuds. Deer were approaching. The controlled burn had worked. Panic among the animals drove them toward safety. "Now!" Yarrick shouted, signaling everyone to prepare for action. Lyra's heart raced as she gripped her spear tightly. She had trained for this moment but never imagined it would feel so exhilarating, and terrifying, at once. As deer bounded into view, she could see their wide eyes filled with fear. Instinctively, they sought refuge from danger. With practiced precision, Lyra and her fellow hunters sprang into action, each moving fluidly toward their designated traps while keeping an eye on the fleeing animals. The sight was both beautiful and chaotic, nature's dance between predator and prey unfolding before them. Lyra spotted a young deer veering off course. It had strayed too close to one of their snares. She felt a surge of adrenaline as she sprinted forward, her feet pounding against the earth beneath her. This was her chance to prove herself, to show that she could contribute meaningfully to her tribe's survival. As she reached the trap just in time, Lyra positioned herself carefully behind some bushes to remain hidden from view. The deer approached cautiously, its nose twitching as it sensed something amiss in its surroundings. With bated breath, Lyra waited until it was mere steps away from her hiding place before making her move. In one swift motion, she leaped out from behind cover and threw her spear with all her might. The spear flew through the air like a bolt of lightning before striking true. The young deer stumbled but did not fall immediately. Panic surged through Lyra as she realized she needed to act quickly. This was not just about hunting, it was about ensuring that her tribe would eat tonight. Rushing forward with determination coursing through her veins, Lyra grabbed hold of another spear lying nearby and closed in on her prey. With each step closer, she could see fear reflected in its eyes, a reminder that life hung delicately in balance between hunter and hunted. Finally reaching the wounded deer, Lyra steadied herself before delivering a swift blow, ensuring it would not suffer any longer than necessary. As she knelt beside it, heart racing yet filled with gratitude for this life, the reality of what they had accomplished began to sink in. Cheers erupted from nearby hunters who had witnessed her success. Yarrick approached with pride shining in his eyes as he clapped her shoulder firmly. "You did well. We'll have enough food for everyone." The thrill of victory washed over Lyra like warm sunlight breaking through clouds after a storm, a reminder that mastering fire had opened doors previously unimaginable for their tribe. As they prepared to carry their catch back home under starlit skies, the crackling flames still dancing behind them, Lyra felt an overwhelming sense of unity within her people. Together they had harnessed nature's forces not only for survival but also for growth, a testament that even amidst shadows cast by uncertainty, light could always find its way through. Conflict and control. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the valley, Lyra and her tribe returned to their cave with their hard-won prize, a young deer that would provide nourishment for days to come. The excitement of their successful hunt filled the air, but beneath that elation lurked an undercurrent of tension. With fire now a part of their daily lives, the tribe faced not only new opportunities but also challenges that could threaten their way of life. In the days following their successful hunt, Lyra noticed a change in the atmosphere among her people. While many were eager to explore the benefits of fire, others grew wary of its potential dangers. Thorin, the elder, called for a gathering to discuss these concerns, and Lyra felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety as she joined her fellow tribespeople around the central hearth. "Fire has brought us warmth and food," Thorin began, his voice steady yet solemn. "But it is also a force that demands respect. We must learn to control it before it controls us." As he spoke, Lyra glanced around at her friends and family. Some nodded in agreement, while others exchanged worried glances. She could sense that not everyone shared the same enthusiasm for fire's newfound role in their lives. "Recently," Thorin continued, "I have heard whispers of another tribe, Kayla's tribe, who seeks to harness fire for purposes beyond our understanding. They believe it can be used as a weapon." A murmur rippled through the crowd at the mention of Kayla, a fierce leader known for her ambition and cunning. Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. She had heard stories about Kayla's tribe raiding neighboring communities for resources. The thought of them wielding fire as a weapon was unsettling. "What do we do if they come for us?" one of the hunters asked nervously. Thorin raised his hand for silence. "We must prepare ourselves. We cannot let fear dictate our actions, but we must also be vigilant. Fire can be used for protection as well as destruction." Lyra's heart raced at the prospect of conflict. She had always believed that fire could bring people together, but now it seemed like it could tear them apart. As discussions continued around her, she felt compelled to speak up. "Perhaps we should reach out to Kayla's tribe," Lyra suggested hesitantly. "If we can show them how fire can help us rather than harm us, maybe we can find common ground." Thorin regarded her thoughtfully before nodding slowly. "That is a wise idea, Lyra. But it will require courage on our part to approach them." As night fell over the valley, Lyra lay awake in her small corner of the cave, contemplating the challenges ahead. She knew that confronting Kayla's tribe would not be easy. They were known for their fierce loyalty and pride. But if there was any chance to prevent conflict and foster understanding, she felt it was worth pursuing. The following day, Lyra gathered her courage and approached Yarrick, her friend and fellow hunter who had demonstrated bravery during their recent hunt. "Yarrick," she said earnestly, "I want to speak with Kayla's tribe about fire, about how we can use it together instead of against each other." Yarrick raised an eyebrow in surprise but quickly nodded in support. "I'll go with you," he offered. "We'll face whatever comes together." With Yarrick by her side, Lyra set off toward Kayla's territory, a neighboring valley known for its dense woods and rocky outcrops. As they walked, she felt a mix of trepidation and determination. This was uncharted territory for both of them. Upon reaching Kayla's camp, they were met with wary stares from the members of her tribe, muscular figures clad in animal hides with fierce expressions etched onto their faces. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I am Lyra from Thorin's tribe," she announced boldly despite her racing heart. "We've come to speak about fire." At that moment, Kayla emerged from behind a cluster of trees, a striking figure with dark hair cascading down her back and piercing eyes that seemed to assess every detail before her. "Fire?" Kayla echoed incredulously. "What do you know about fire that we do not?" Lyra exchanged glances with Yarrick before continuing cautiously. We believe fire can unite us rather than divide us. It has brought our tribe warmth and food, we want to share its benefits with you. Kayla studied them intently, her expression unreadable. And what if I told you my tribe seeks to control fire as a weapon? We have seen its power in your hands, why should we trust you? Lyra felt a surge of frustration mixed with fear but remained resolute. Because we understand its dangers as well as its benefits, she replied earnestly. We want to learn from each other, to find ways to use fire responsibly. Kayla crossed her arms defiantly but seemed intrigued by Lyra's words. You think your people are ready for such responsibility? We are willing to try, Yarrick interjected confidently. But we need your help too. After a long pause filled with tension, Kayla finally spoke again. Very well, I will consider your proposal, but know this, if my tribe feels threatened in any way, we will not hesitate to protect ourselves. Relief washed over Lyra as she realized they had made some progress, perhaps there was hope after all. Over the next few days, Lyra and Yarrick returned frequently to Kayla's camp to discuss ideas surrounding fire management and its potential uses beyond mere survival, how it could help both tribes thrive together rather than compete against one another. As discussions progressed between both groups, sharing knowledge about controlled burns for hunting or clearing land, the atmosphere shifted from suspicion toward collaboration, a testament that even amidst conflict arising from fear, understanding could bridge divides once thought insurmountable. However, not everyone within Kayla's tribe welcomed these changes, some remained skeptical about trusting outsiders, whispers circulated among those who feared losing their power or resources if they opened themselves up too much. One evening after another productive meeting between tribes, Lyra overheard hushed voices discussing plans for retaliation against perceived threats posed by Thorin's tribe should things go awry during negotiations, a reminder that while progress had been made, tension still simmered beneath surface-level camaraderie forged through shared experiences around flames flickering brightly above hearths shared between families seeking safety warmth amidst harsh realities faced daily. As darkness enveloped them once more, the flickering embers casting shadows across faces illuminated by hope, Lyra knew they stood on precipice between cooperation or conflict, and only time would tell whether mastery over fire would ultimately unite them or ignite flames of discord threatening everything they had worked so hard to build together. Related. What were the initial challenges humans faced when learning to control fire? How did the discovery of fire impact early human tool development? Were there any significant environmental changes due to early humans using fire? How did the use of fire influence early human artistic and cultural expressions? Did early humans use fire for any religious or spiritual purposes? The transformation of society. In the days following Lyra's encounter with Kayla's tribe, a sense of cautious optimism settled over her community. The discussions about fire had transformed from fearful whispers into collaborative efforts that fostered understanding and cooperation. As the tribes began to share knowledge and techniques, Lyra felt a profound shift occurring, not just in their relationship with fire but in their entire way of life. The cave, once merely a shelter against the elements, began to evolve into a vibrant hub of activity. Lyra and her fellow tribespeople embraced the newfound power of fire, using it to cook meals, forge tools, and create warmth during the chilly nights. The hearth at the center of their cave became a gathering place where stories were shared, laughter echoed, and bonds were strengthened. As Lyra watched her tribe flourish, she couldn't help but feel proud of their progress. They had learned to control fire not only for survival but also as a means of enhancing their daily lives. With each passing day, they experimented with new ways to utilize this powerful element, discovering how it could be used to create pottery, harden tools, and even illuminate their cave with flickering light. One evening, as Lyra sat around the hearth with her family and friends, she noticed Eldrin, a visionary inventor known for his creativity, working diligently on something new. His brow furrowed in concentration as he molded clay into various shapes while keeping an eye on the flames dancing nearby. "What are you working on, Eldrin?" Lyra asked curiously. He looked up with a spark of excitement in his eyes. "I'm experimenting with pottery. If I can shape this clay and then fire it in the flames, we might create durable vessels for storing food and water. Lyra's eyes widened in amazement. That sounds incredible. We could use those to keep our food fresh and carry water more easily. Eldrin nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. Fire can help us transform materials into something useful, something that will change how we live. As Eldrin continued his work, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. The mastery of fire had opened doors to innovation that would shape their society for generations to come. Days turned into weeks as the tribe embraced this spirit of invention. Eldrin's pottery experiments bore fruit. Soon they had sturdy clay pots that could hold liquids without leaking. The tribe gathered around the hearth to celebrate this achievement, sharing stories and laughter as they passed around bowls filled with hearty stew cooked over open flames. With each new creation, be it pottery or tools, the tribe's confidence grew. They began to see themselves not just as survivors but as creators capable of shaping their own destinies. This shift in perspective was palpable. It infused every gathering with energy and purpose. However, amidst this progress lay challenges that tested their unity. As news spread about their advancements, rival tribes grew envious of their newfound power. Kayla's tribe had initially been wary but soon recognized the potential benefits of fire for warfare and hunting. Whispers began circulating about possible raids, threats that could disrupt everything Lyra's tribe had worked so hard to build. One evening during a meeting led by Thorin, tension hung thick in the air as they discussed these rumors. We must remain vigilant, he urged, his voice steady yet grave. Our mastery over fire has drawn attention from those who may wish to take it from us. Lyra felt a knot tighten in her stomach. She had hoped that fostering cooperation would lead to peace rather than conflict. What if we reached out to Kayla again, she suggested hesitantly. Perhaps we can find a way to share our knowledge instead of fighting over it. Thorin considered her words carefully before nodding slowly. It is worth exploring, he replied thoughtfully. But we must be prepared for any outcome. With renewed determination, Lyra set out once more toward Kayla's territory alongside Yarrick and several other trusted members of her tribe. As they approached the border between their lands, a line marked by ancient trees twisted together like guardians, their hearts raced with anticipation. When they arrived at Kayla's camp, they were met with wary glances from her tribe members, muscular figures standing ready for confrontation should tensions escalate further. But Lyra stood firm. She believed in the power of dialogue over conflict. Kayla! Lyra called out boldly as she stepped forward. We come in peace. We wish to discuss how we can use our knowledge of fire together rather than let it divide us. Kayla emerged from behind a cluster of trees, her expression unreadable as she assessed Lyra and her companions. You think you can simply waltz back here after our last encounter? She challenged, crossing her arms defiantly. We've made progress, Yarrick interjected confidently. We've learned how to use fire not just for destruction but for creation too, pottery, tools. We believe there is much we can share. Kayla's eyes narrowed as she considered their words. Tension crackled in the air like static electricity before a storm. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she spoke again. Very well, Kayla said slowly. Show me what you've accomplished. With cautious optimism guiding them forward, Lyra led Kayla back toward her tribe's cave where Eldrin awaited them eagerly beside a table filled with newly crafted pottery and tools glimmering under flickering flames. As they entered the cave, a space now filled with warmth and laughter, Lyra felt hope swell within her heart. Perhaps this was a chance for understanding rather than conflict. Eldrin stepped forward confidently to demonstrate how they used fire to harden clay pots. He explained each step carefully while showcasing his creations proudly before Kayla's watchful gaze. To everyone's surprise, including Lyra's, Kayla listened intently, curiosity sparked behind her fierce exterior as she examined each piece closely. This is impressive, Kayla admitted begrudgingly after several moments spent observing Eldrin's work closely. Lyra exchanged glances with Yarrick. Perhaps this was indeed a turning point. a moment where creativity could bridge gaps forged by fear and misunderstanding. As discussions continued throughout the evening, sharing ideas about controlled burns for hunting or clearing land, the atmosphere shifted from suspicion toward collaboration, a testament that even amidst conflict arising from fear, understanding could bridge divides once thought insurmountable. By nightfall, laughter echoed through the cave as both tribes shared stories around the hearth, a symbol not only of warmth but also unity forged through shared experiences around flames flickering brightly above them, all reminding them that together they could shape their destinies rather than let fear dictate their actions. As Lyra settled down beside Yarrick later that night, the crackling embers casting shadows across faces illuminated by hope, she knew they stood on precipice between cooperation or conflict, and only time would tell whether mastery over fire would ultimately unite them or ignite flames of discord threatening everything they had worked so hard to build together. Legacy of Fire. Years passed since Lyra and her tribe first discovered the power of fire, and the changes it had wrought were profound. The cave that had once been a simple shelter had transformed into a thriving community, bustling with activity and innovation. Fire was no longer just a tool for survival, it had become a symbol of their unity and progress. Lyra watched as her people flourished, embracing the warmth and light that fire provided. One evening, as Lyra sat by the hearth with her family, she marveled at how far they had come. Eldrin's pottery lined the shelves, sturdy vessels filled with grains and water. The aroma of roasted meat wafted through the air, a testament to their successful hunts and newfound culinary skills. Children played nearby, their laughter ringing out like music against the backdrop of crackling flames. Lyra, her father Roland called, breaking her reverie. "Come help us prepare for the gathering tonight." "What gathering?" she asked, intrigued. "We're celebrating our achievements," he replied with a smile. "It's been a year since we first tamed fire together. We'll share stories, food, and honor those who contributed to our progress." Excitement bubbled within Lyra as she joined her family in preparing for the festivities. They decorated the cave with vibrant wildflowers and arranged tables filled with delicious dishes cooked over open flames. As night fell, the cave glowed with warmth and light, drawing everyone in from the surrounding areas. As the tribe gathered around the central hearth, Lyra felt a sense of pride swell within her. Thorin stood at the forefront, ready to address the crowd. "Tonight, we celebrate not just our mastery over fire but what it has brought us, unity, innovation, and resilience," he began. The crowd erupted in cheers as Lyra glanced around at familiar faces, friends and family who had shared in their journey from uncertainty to empowerment. This was more than just a celebration, it was a testament to their collective strength. As stories were shared around the fire, tales of their first hunts using fire to guide game or Eldrin's pottery experiments, Lyra felt inspired by each narrative woven into the fabric of their community. She realized that fire had not only transformed their way of life but also deepened their connections with one another. Later in the evening, as laughter filled the air and flames danced high above them, Lyra found herself reflecting on how fire had changed everything for her tribe. It had become a catalyst for growth, a force that brought them together rather than tearing them apart. But amidst this celebration lingered an unspoken understanding: they could not take their mastery over fire for granted. The lessons learned from their early experiences remained etched in their minds, the importance of respect and responsibility when wielding such power. As she gazed into the flickering flames, Lyra felt a sense of responsibility wash over her. They were stewards of this gift, guardians of knowledge passed down through generations, and it was up to them to ensure that future generations understood its significance. "Thorin," Lyra spoke up as she approached him after his speech. "How do we ensure that our children learn about fire responsibly? I want them to understand its power without fear." Thorin smiled at her thoughtful question. "Education is key," he replied. "We must teach them not only how to create fire but also how to respect it, how to harness its energy while understanding its dangers." Inspired by Thorin's words, Lyra envisioned creating a space within their cave dedicated to learning, a place where children could gather to explore fire's wonders safely under supervision. She imagined teaching them about controlled burns for agriculture or how to use embers for cooking without risking injury. As discussions continued throughout the night, sharing ideas about cultivating knowledge alongside creativity, Lyra felt hope blossom within her heart. Perhaps this was indeed a turning point, a moment where responsibility could shape future generations' relationship with fire. The following days saw Lyra rallying support for her vision among fellow tribespeople. Together they transformed a corner of the cave into an educational space filled with materials for learning about fire's properties, dried leaves for practice burns, clay for pottery demonstrations, and tools for crafting. Eldrin eagerly joined in on this initiative, excitedly sharing his expertise on pottery while others contributed by teaching safe practices around flames during cooking sessions held regularly at the hearth. Children flocked to this new space filled with laughter and curiosity, a testament that knowledge could empower them rather than instill fear. They learned how to create small fires safely while understanding why certain precautions were necessary, how wind direction affected flames or why they needed water nearby at all times. As weeks turned into months, their educational efforts bore fruit. Children became adept at managing fires responsibly while embracing creativity alongside safety protocols established by their elders, a balance between exploration and caution that would serve them well throughout life ahead. But even amidst this newfound harmony came challenges from outside forces. Rival tribes continued to eye their progress with envy, a reminder that mastery over fire could attract both allies and adversaries alike. One fateful day brought news of an approaching storm. A rival tribe seeking resources threatened by jealousy fueled by rumors swirling around newfound prosperity enjoyed by Lyra's people. Whispers spoke of raids aimed at seizing control over what they believed rightfully belonged only unto themselves. As preparations unfolded within cave walls, the flickering glow illuminating faces etched with determination, Lyra knew they stood on precipice between cooperation or conflict, and only time would tell whether mastery over fire would ultimately unite them or ignite flames of discord threatening everything they had worked so hard to build together. In those moments filled with uncertainty, the bond forged through shared experiences around flickering flames reminded them all that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. After all, they were not merely survivors anymore, they were creators capable of shaping destinies intertwined forevermore.